And good morning and welcome into the Real Monica Adams show. I want to say happy Monday, but it's not. It's a Tuesday. And this is usually when we come back from a holiday where everyone always feels a little discombobulated. Some of the kids are heading off to the school. So we'll do a school bus stop forecast for you coming up in just a second. We've got some news you can use. I've got the awe story of the day, some sports news, and then I'd love to know, what did you do for the holiday weekend? Some of you finally said, okay, I think I can dodge the raindrops and get outside and do some outside planting. I can do some boating. I can, you name it, from an outside standpoint. I was glad to see that it wasn't a complete washout. In fact, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. A little chillier than most would have liked, probably, from a boating standpoint. But what did you do? Did you spend it with the family? I'd love to know. And again, as you're tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. And did you happen upon the show? Did someone tell you, hey, I want you to watch this show? If so, I want to thank them, because a lot of you are doing exactly what we asked, which is sharing and liking and following our live stream so that we can continue to grow the platforms, grow the followers, and do exactly what this mission is all about. And that is to spread kindness all across the world. So good morning to you. I'll be seeing all of you pop on here. Would love for you to tell us again if you have any ideas for future guests or ideas of where you would like for us to take the show on the road, because we're doing a lot of that into the month of June and July. We have a aspiring meteorologist. If you've never had a chance to see him before, it's a segment that we like to call What the Weather.
Good evening from St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a beautiful one.
This past weekend, I was saying that, well, what the heck's happening? Is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain? Good morning, first of all, Beckett. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How was your weekend?
It was wonderful. I was going to try to take the boat out, and I think if I had a slip out in Lake St. Louis, I would have just hopped in the boat and taken it out. But it's the whole aspect of trailering the darn thing and putting it in, and all of a sudden here comes the rain. You're like, ah. I think people, though, that have a slip probably had a chance to get out in the water a little bit. So I didn't do that, but it was nice to get out, and I hung by the pool a little bit. Didn't get in the pool. It was too cold for that, for sure.
Yeah, for
What did
sure.
you all do? Did you go to the cottage?
Unfortunately, we didn't because our air conditioning and water wasn't working. Everything was broken, so we didn't end up going to our cottage. But we really were just getting ready for our trip that we're actually leaving here in a couple of hours, going on a big road trip these next 2 weeks.
Where are you going?
We're going to New York as well as Rhode Island and Washington, D.C.
Look at you. How long are you going to be gone?
2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All right, well, cool. So yes, I hope everybody had a beautiful one, no matter what. As we get into the last couple of days, I think some kids are still in school for the next couple of days, so we will do a bus stop forecast for you. Then it looks like everybody will be out and ready for their summer break. Are we in an unseasonably cool pattern right now?
Yes, we are. This last weekend, I think, was the coldest Memorial Day weekend in 40 years. So yeah, we're really cool right now, but gonna be warming up quickly this week.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so summer right around the corner. Again, a lot of people officially feel like it's summer because they opened up their pools this past weekend, but unless you have a heater, it's a little cold to get in there. So let's let Beckett take it over and let you know what the next few days are going to look like throughout the week, and then we go into another weekend. So take it away, Beckett.
Yeah, so looking at the current conditions right now, we got a temperature around 63 degrees, overcast skies, dew point at 46. Sunrise this morning was at 5:41, and our sunset tonight will be at 8:16. Our bus stop forecast for any of those that are still heading to the bus stop this morning, 63 degrees and overcast skies this morning again, and then into this afternoon, warming up to 72 with mostly cloudy skies, and could see a couple of isolated showers around the area throughout the day. Lastly, our 7-day outlook. Again, today we have a high of around 72 with mostly cloudy skies, low 58 tonight. As we head into tomorrow for a Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, warming up to 77. So a nice day tomorrow. Going to be really nice feeling that after this very cool and kind of gloomy weekend. Then as we head into Thursday, 40% chance of a couple showers around the area with a high of around 74. But then towards the weekend, looking very nice. Sunshine coming back after Thursday, 80 degrees on Friday, 85, 86 Saturday and Sunday, and 88 on Monday. And we haven't hit 90 degrees yet in St. Louis, so we're going to have a good chance of that as we head into early next week.
Wow, Beckett, what a complete change. Yes. Are you ready for the 80s? I don't know. I still want a little bit more of spring, but I don't want the
Yeah.
cold temperatures. We literally turned the heat on the other night. That's
I
how
know,
cold
it
it
was
was. I
that
don't know
cold,
about any
yeah.
of you. I just moved over to Instagram real quick, and Diane said, "Good morning, Beckett," and she wanted you to have a great trip. So always want to make sure you all are heard. Yeah, so let us know. You're leaving here in just a couple of hours?
Yes. And then we're heading.
Fantastic. Well, let us know. Do me a favor and text me. As I always tell you, I'm not a mother, but I have motherly instincts. So let me know when you arrive safely.
Will do.
All right, Becca, thank you so very much and have a wonderful day. Tell your family I said hi.
Thank you. You too.
Uh, Again, folks, that's aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. As I always mention, be sure to follow him on X, you know that as Twitter, as well as YouTube. That's where he is most active, More Weather Official. All right, let's get into some news you can use. And if you're new to the show, I don't give you all the horrific things going on in our world. Instead, it's all about things I think you want to talk about with your family and friends. And yesterday, there were a lot of people saying Happy Memorial Day. It's more of a somber day. It's more of a day of memorializing those that fought for our freedom. And they did just that at Soldiers Memorial. Citizens paying respect to those who serve at Soldiers Memorial. And maybe you went out there, or maybe you went to Jefferson Barracks. Maybe you went to honor someone in your family that served. Many did just that. A powerful ceremony actually was held honoring those who died serving and appreciating those who continue to fight for our freedom today. Dozens of veterans, residents, city leaders all paid their respects. Mayor Spencer has several family members who served in the military, and she was out there yesterday. Her father actually deployed to Alaska to protect the border from Soviet planes. So yesterday was a day to honor them, and I hope you had a chance to do just that. A lot of people, they go into the holiday and they're like, oh yeah, it's time to open the pools. It's time to go boating. It's time to have drinks with friends. No, it was all about what you see on those pictures right there. We have a story we like to do for you, local, regional, national news as well. If you are a fan of soccer, Liverpool, this was horrific to see and hear this morning. 27 people, including 4 children, hospitalized after a car plowed right into the crowd of Liverpool soccer fans. Authorities say 27 taken to the hospital with 2 suffering serious injuries. There was a 53-year-old British man that plowed a minivan into the crowd of Liverpool soccer fans who were celebrating the city's Premier League championship, injuring more than 45 people as shouts of joy turned into shrieks of terror. The driver, arrested, was believed to be the only one involved, and the crash was not being investigated as an act of terrorism. Ambulance took 27 people to the hospital. Another 20 were treated at the scene for minor injuries. Again, as we mentioned, 2 with serious injuries. So the investigation obviously will continue into this. Any new information I get about that, I will pass that along to you. I love this story. Okay, so you think about being extremely exhausted. Your alarms go off. Some people are so tired they sleep right through the alarms. This man did this. However, there was a possibility of him not making it out of his house alive if it wasn't for his bearded dragon. Yes, a lot of people think, oh, I need a pet that's fuzzy and furry and I can pet him. And they're like, I don't understand reptiles. Well, this guy is lucky that he has his bearded dragon because it saved his life. This was in Washington. He is counting his blessings today. Donald Hale and his bearded dragon Spike, they're nearly inseparable. That likely saved both their lives back on May 17th when a fire broke out in their Federal Way apartment. The man said, I witnessed a miracle right here laying on the couch because if my dragon didn't wake me up, if he didn't, I don't think I'd be here talking to reporters today, he said. He came back from a 13-mile run that night, fell into a deep sleep on the couch after he took some melatonin. He didn't hear the 2 smoke alarms that began going off, but luckily for him, Spike was not about to go down in flames. He used his very long tail like a whip to wake up his sleeping owner. He said no neighbor came by to wake him up, no alarm woke him up, the dragon woke him up. As a reward, he is taking Spike on a vacation to the Grand Canyon. I love it. That story and this one as well. And I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of people on social media posting a bunch of pictures of fawns everywhere. My aunt's one of them. She found this baby fawn and she was almost going to try to feed it and then saw the mom come and she's got this beautiful picture and video of the baby nursing. Well, this was an act of kindness that saved this particular fawn's life. A remarkable act of compassion. An animal control officer in Oklahoma Oklahoma rescued that unborn deer after its mother was hit by a car. The city animal control supervisor said he responded to a call for an animal that had been hit. He said, I received a call about a deer that had been struck by a car. When he arrived, it had 4 broken legs, and he said he realized that he would need to put it down. But after he put the deer down, his coworker noticed movement in the deer's abdomen. They say they realized this was meant she was about to give birth. So the 2 men jumped into action to save the baby deer. They rushed to the truck, grabbed their gloves, a knife, and got the baby out. He said, I knew it wouldn't survive if I didn't do something. He spent his entire life around animals, but was not a trained veterinarian. The life of the baby deer depended on his actions. And again, what a true hero. I mean, come on. If you saw something like that, you would do everything you possibly could, right, to let that baby live. I just love it. That's my awe story of the day. All right, I was mentioning, what did you do for the holiday weekend? Feel free to continue to drop comments in. My husband went to Indianapolis for the Indy 500, and he saw this man take the 109th running of the Indy 500. Congratulations to Alex Palou, making history as the first Spanish driver to win the Indianapolis 500. I had a chance to interview many of them, including him when he was just starting out. So congratulations to Alex. What an incredible race he ran. Also, some interesting news. U.S. Olympic legend Mary Lou Retton was arrested for a DUI in West Virginia. Yes, America's sweetheart, the former Olympian, was arrested in Marion County, West Virginia, for driving under the influence of alcohol, controlled substances, or drugs, according to a recent post. This was back on May 17th. She's facing a misdemeanor count of DUI, and she posted $1,500 bond the same day of her arrest. And these days, I guess, don't understand. There's so many people that can take you safely to your destination. Again, Uber, a best friend, just designated driver. Keep yourself safe. Glad that she and no one else is injured, but again, paying the price. In sports news, first of all, let's get into the Cardinals, then we'll get into St. Louis City SC. St. Louis Cardinals lost to Baltimore 5-2 yesterday. It's the Cards and the Orioles today. First pitch will be at 5:35, and the same 2 teams tomorrow, exact same time. I cannot believe St. Louis City SC has not won a game yet. I mean, I'm surprised the coach still has his job, but that's what a lot of people are talking about. Will he be able to keep that? They lost to Colorado. The final was 1-0 on Saturday. So now they're back in action on the 31st. They'll be playing out of town. They'll be in San Jose. That game will be Saturday at 1:30. And your National Day of Calendar, just a few things for you today. National Grape Day. It's also National Grape Popsicle Day and National Cellophane Day. And that is how we do it, folks. We've got you all up to date in some news you can use and things that I think you might want to talk about. We've got a ton of you on right now. Let me go back and say good morning. Sean, Jenny, of course, is on moderating for you. She's training one of 3 interns that are starting with us. So everybody give a shout out to Hayden Schwab. Hayden, we are so thrilled to have you. He's from St. Charles Community College, one of a handful of students that saw me speak at an entrepreneurial symposium a few weeks back, and now he's part of the Real Monica Adams team. So Hayden, welcome aboard. You are being trained by some of the best in the business, Jenny Egan, as well as Zach Kimball, and he's also looking forward to learning some audio editing, which he will do from my own audio editor, Hannah Ledford. So shout out to all of them. Good morning, Kathleen. Let's see. Good morning to Stephanie. Julie, good morning to you as well. Dude's Playground's on. Oh my God. We also found a baby. See, a baby deer. They're all over the place near our old he said, and raised it until it was 3 months old. His name was Donnie, and he was Dude's best friend. I love that. A baby deer, hours old. Okay, he corrected himself. Fantastic. Yeah, just take care of those babies. The Minnesota Frost won the Women's Hockey League Championship. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Again, feel free to put any news you want in there, depending on who you follow and where you're from. But we welcome all of you here locally. Of course, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. So Missouri and Illinois, we always take care of. And then we go from a regional and a national and an international standpoint. So we've got people watching all over the world, and we appreciate just that. So, a lot of people, when they wake up in the morning, they need coffee to get started, right? They go through the grind, and this is no play on the words. They go through the grind of life, and they think, Here we go again. Do you hate what you do? Then maybe you have the entrepreneurial spirit to adjust things a little bit, or maybe completely shift the pattern of your life. We're going to talk with Angela Garland, where the idea of Exit 11 Coffee ever came from, all the locations that she has opened, literally having the knocks all the way down, lifting back up, who you surround yourself with, and some of the hardest things that she ever had a chance to do in life and overcome. And then what are the plans for maybe more locations? Well, we're going to find out all of that information from Angela. Angela will be in the white chair when we return.
Carroll House Furniture Homes look the best because of our free design service. Our designers please your taste.
Let's reimagine your room with 50 brand name choices.
We'll create a 3D design with a 360 view for your room.
Free design services are just the beginning. Free 0% financing, fast free delivery and setup, and the guaranteed lowest prices in the country with no stipulations.
You'll get a perfect custom floor plan for your new dream room.
Carroll House Design, because you like nice things.
This is my wonderful role model, one of my best friends.
She's, oh my gosh, you got a long life. You could probably live to be 130 or something. And I said, oh God, I hope not.
It's getting hot in here. Don't take off all your clothes.
I'm not going to take off my clothes. On the radio tape, going to be
Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. We're gonna speak. We're not gonna spank anybody. We're gonna speak about knowing your value, and then I'm gonna.
I'm going to spank them.
If you don't know your value and you don't grab hold of how important you are, I'm gonna spank you. Folks, you never know what you're gonna get with her.
We have the traditional espresso drinks, both hot and iced, so lattes and caramel macchiatos, and then we have a great iced coffee, but we're known for our cold brew because we make the coffee cubes. So during the summer, when your drink is melting, you'll still taste like coffee because we've got the coffee cubes in there.
Ooh, have you ever been to Exit 11 Coffee? Well, we're going to talk all about it today. I hope you've already been there. If not, now you're discovering it. I know you got a ton of coffee lovers out there this morning, and you can't do life without your coffee, right? Well, Angela knows that. Angela Garland is my guest, and she is the mastermind behind Exit 11 Coffee. So let's welcome her in. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me. This is exciting.
I have to thank Ann Donnelly, by the way. Ann is a mutual friend of ours. And how the two of you know each other, by the way? Ann's a big viewer of the show.
Yes, high school.
Way
back in high school.
Okay, you haven't seen her in
and
decades,
I haven't
right?
seen her. No, I think I might have seen her at one of the reunions, but it's been at least 20 years. So.
Okay, so she is a much smaller version probably of the person that you probably saw. She's lost 100 pounds with me.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So congratulations to Ann. And if you don't know, I'm a personal trainer. And so there's a lot to the brand. The main thing is that we spread kindness all over the place and that we shine spotlights on incredible human beings that have that drive and passion and that entrepreneurial spirit. So we're going to talk all about Angela's background, and then we're excited at the end of the show to tell you about something coming up where we're actually going to join her at one of her locations. So, all right, let's go back. So Exit 11 Coffee, a lot of people, if you haven't had a chance to find out about them, we'll put this on the screen a handful of times throughout the show. There's the website that you can go to, exit11coffee.com. Also follow them on social media. I just tagged them in a story right before we went on, at Exit 11 Coffee. But it's so funny how people will go, oh, wow, yeah, there's multiple locations. People have it easy in life. They open up a business and then there's another one, another one, another one. Yeah, right. Angela's going to be like, hang on a second. It was a grind, not to play on the word at all, but it's a grind in life. So we'll walk through all of that. Before you ever opened Exit 11 Coffee, though, you were involved in other aspects of business. So take us back before the dream came about.
Sure. Well, I kind of grew up in the shared office industry. So they call it business centers. Now it's called co-working. So that was the business my mom was in, and I grew up in that industry. And then through having babies and going back to work and getting my undergrad and doing all the stuff I did in my 20s, there came a point where I realized that the future was people having meetings and coffee shops. So my clients who normally would book a meeting room with me, I'd run into them in the coffee shop. I'm like, what are you doing here? Well, you're paying for a boardroom and you have an office. They're like, this feels more comfortable. So I knew that the future would be some kind of a concept that had specialty coffee, meeting rooms, an open lounge area, and retail level. Because a lot of these business centers were in high-rise office buildings, and you'd have to take the elevator to go up. And I'm like, people want to zip in and zip out. And I think, when I was looking for jobs, I would be taking kids in tow, and it was easy to go into Kinko's and then run next door to Starbucks or Panera or whatever. So that was the original vision in the early 2000s. And so that's how we got started, was in we called it Exit 11 Workspace, was what the original concept was. And specialty coffee was just kind of an ancillary, nice little benefit to our office members. But
so why was it called Exit 11?
Well, the original name was Express Office Center, nicknamed Espresso. And that was, I started marketing it and trying to raise capital and telling people about it. And they kept asking, so it's a coffee shop. I'm like, no, it's not a coffee shop. It's a hybrid. It's like all of this stuff combined. But because people were confused, I'm like, I need to simplify the name, make it easier for a website, short, sweet. And so I was on a road trip, and I have this thing for 11s. I see 11s all the time.
Oh.
It's a spiritual connection for me.
I know all about that.
And so anytime I see 11s now, it's like a God wink, and I say a prayer of gratitude. So anyway, I was on a road trip, saw this massive billboard as I'm pumping gas, and all it said it was like the size of your wall. It just said Exit 11, and I'm pumping gas. I'm like, what is it, Exit 11? I mean, I don't know what that means. So I get on the highway and I proceed to see 20 or some odd more Exit 11 signs that kept saying, hospital at Exit 11, university at Exit 11, whenever there's something big happening.
Sure.
I'm like, all right, I guess that's what it is, Exit 11.
Wow.
And that's literally, I saw a sign. So then, of course, fast forward. I mean, it was easy to remember, but fast forward, now I'm in the coffee business. And we are a two-sided drive-through, so actually the name works better for the coffee business than it did the workspace. So God knew something, I guess, I didn't know way back when. So
again, if you're just tuning in, Angela Garland, we're talking about Exit 11 Coffee, but we're doing her backstory. And I also love this because I always say to hear yourself in the person's story, right? You may not be in the coffee business, but you have to think, whatever your life is, do you miss the signs? Because so much in life, you and I both were talking about, this is how our life is, right? It's go, 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 busy, busy, busy. Are we doing so much? Is it chaotic that we miss the signs? We are faith-based. I love the fact you use God wink. I love that so much. But a lot of times, and I've said this on past shows, that the tap comes to you, right? And then all of a sudden it's a little more of a slap. And then sometimes it has to be a gut punch before you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yes. So you had these signs that were happening. So what was the transition time period of going from the co-working space to saying, I'm going to go into the coffee business?
About less than 2 years, because I'm from St. Louis, and I'm opening up a co-working space in Washington, Missouri, where I didn't know a single human being. And then at the same time, I had just gotten married like 3 months before I signed the lease. And my husband was like, you just signed a lease, and how much is that? And for how long?
Right.
I was like, he's like, you should have probably told me. I'm like, I don't know. This is my idea. Mine. He's like, okay, well, now I'm yours, and we're married.
Right,
so
right.
Everything you do
affects
me. So anyway, so he interjected, and we were just doing a self-service Flavia machine where you press the button and a gross cappuccino comes out. And I was not a coffee connoisseur. I'm like, yep, put some cream and sugar in it and we're good to go. Anyway, so he was the person who actually kind of instigated, like, how do we serve better coffee to our members? And then I thought, well, how do I get more members? How about we open it up to the public? So we opened up the front of the house was the coffee shop. The back of the house was the meeting space and the offices. The coffee took off. People were loving it. There's no place to park. And then I visit my daughter in Seattle in 2016. She lives right outside of Seattle, and I see these two-sided drive-thrus everywhere. I'm like, this must be the future because they're 25 years ahead of us. So
Right.
no drive-thru in Washington, Missouri. And so we just said, let's see if we can make this work. And we thought, why not a trailer? Because it's temporary, it looks food truckish, it's cute, kitschy, whatever. And that actually worked. And our original store is still a little two-sided drive-thru stand, trailer. And it actually works better than the brick and mortar buildings because of the size.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Just from a size standpoint. Well, it's also because a lot of people, when did the whole food truck thing start? Do you remember? Has
I'm
it
thinking
been?
early, like 2010, maybe, it feels like.
I remember my brother talking about it, and he had bought a truck and he was going to do something with it. And he never did at the time, but I was like, what? A truck, a food truck. Now, of course, as you know, they're everywhere and looks like long lasting, but it is good for a lot of people because they don't have that big overhead. They don't have to do the whole brick and mortar aspect. And they're like, well, I'm going to go this way. And then maybe it's, okay, we're going to take that and do a brick and mortar, and we have both of them working together. You said did you grow up in St. Louis proper?
Yes. So went to, everybody asked me, went to high school, went to Webster High, graduated from Clayton High, and so lived in St. Louis all of my life until we moved out to Washington in 2017. So
Okay.
all my kids went to school out in St. Louis. So it was, my parents had lived in Washington for a stint in the 90s. And that's why Washington, Missouri. I'm like, I know that. It's not forever. People in St. Louis think, oh my gosh, Washington, Missouri.
It's so far
Like,
away.
It's like,
I love Washington. We were actually just out there for Mobile Monica not too long ago. It's such a beautiful area, and it's so silly how people are so stuck in their little 10-mile radius. Oh, no, we can't cross bridges. We can't go into St. Charles County. We can't go into Illinois. Oh, that's too long of a drive.
Yeah.
You will see so much in life if you are willing to just take that drive and enjoy it. So Washington, again, is the start. I didn't ask this. Have you always been a coffee drinker?
no,
Oh,
I did not
that's
start
funny.
drinking coffee until my mid 30s. I was having a meeting at Starbucks, and I asked the barista, I'm like, this is an important meeting, so I cannot look like I'm 12 years old and order a hot chocolate. So what can I order that's like a hot chocolate? So it said, how about a white chocolate mocha? So then that became my drink, which is like drinking hot chocolate. And it's 800 calories. And then after gaining 20 pounds, I'm like, okay, I got to think of something else. So then I worked my way, to a sugar-free vanilla. And then I would go home and have my little vanilla creamer. And so now I can drink coffee black. And even my husband would prefer to have a little cream. But if you have good coffee, you should be able to drink it black and say,
that's what I wanted to go to. So
Yeah.
my husband, he will do it black. He'll even do, okay, what is it? I'm not a coffee drinker. So it is a red eye. He does red eyes. And a lot of people are like, holy cow, that's like crazy, crazy strong. And he's like, yep, but I love that. He doesn't need to put all the different things in. He actually doesn't understand that. But he had one time. I remember we were on vacation. He's like, oh, and I go, see, now you understand why they do that. Let me try to be led to this, though. So I have never been a coffee drinker. I think I tasted it once in life when I was in grade school. And then I accidentally picked up my husband's cup and drank, and I was not expecting it. And I was like, no. So for a person who doesn't drink coffee, obviously black would not be the way to introduce them. So, and not that I necessarily want to switch. I'm a big tea drinker, but how would you tell someone that is just wanting to introduce themselves to coffee? Where would you have them start?
I would have them start with a latte. With just a shot of espresso. That's one shot of espresso. So at least they have the little bit of the coffee taste, but without the bitterness. And I think most of us are introduced with coffee because we drank our parents' coffee and it was disgusting. And it was
Exactly.
burnt and tastes like drinking charcoal. Anyway, so and I think that's a lot when you go to coffee places, if they don't have the fresh, it's all about it really is. It's about having the freshest roasted. Did they just grind it right before they poured it? Are they using filtered water? If they check the temperature, is their machine calibrated? Like all these things make a difference on how your coffee is served. But most people are not. They're like, hey, I'm going to open up a coffee shop and just turn on a coffee maker and serve coffee.
And that's why they don't. That's why they don't succeed.
Yeah.
Right?
And luckily, my husband's the mad scientist, so he's always perfecting. It's like, it needs to be a little bit better. Thank God, because I wouldn't know. I mean, I love business, and I thought I would always duplicate the co-working center. I wanted to just be like, get it up and running. I'm the idea person, the visionary. Get it up. Okay, everybody good? Okay, bye-bye. I'm going to go do the next thing. And so,
well, that's why, and that's an important thing that Angela just said. That's why everybody has their wheelhouse, and you let them do that, and you do what you do well, and then let them do what they do well, and that's how you have this great product working. So we were just going to go into that. So from a roasting standpoint, you roast your own.
yes.
You also are known for your cold brew. Why is that?
Because of our cold cubes. So we actually put, instead of ice cubes, we put coffee cubes into the cold brew. So especially in the summer when your drink is melting and it gets watered down, this way it doesn't get watered down. It still keeps the coffee taste. We also make it in-house, so it steeps for 18 to 24 hours. And the baristas make it in these big, huge 5-gallon tubs. And we also make it with our bourbon vanilla syrup. So that also put us on the map. That's the other thing with if you're introducing coffee, if you can have a little flavor in there, something, vanilla, caramel, mocha, that helps get introduced to the coffee. But we've done that. We've converted a lot of non-coffee people. We're like, just taste this.
Yes.
And my husband will work them through until they can now say, okay, I can have coffee at home with creamer. I'm good.
So we have a surprise for you at the end of the show that we'll get into, and she might do that. So I cannot go to a coffee place with her and not taste something. We'll see if she can switch me. So if you're just tuning in, again, Angela Garland. So we're talking about Exit 11 Coffee, and you're up to how many locations now?
8 locations,
8, right?
Yep.
So you have 2 in Washington?
2 in Washington, 2 in
Union.
Union, 1 in St. James, 1 in St. Peters, Eureka, and Brentwood.
And so which is your latest? Eureka?
Yes.
Okay, so Brentwood is the one that I think we first went by, and I was like, oh, what is this? And again, the concept of the double-sided, which I hadn't seen. Are you the only one doing that?
No, actually, that building in Brentwood,
It's
been there for 20 some odd years. And I remember driving by it because I lived in Webster and Clayton and back and forth. I'm like, that's so interesting. And then it's so funny because like 12 years ago, I thought that should be a smoothie stand. I've always knew there needed to be something. And I don't know why the former owners of whatever the concepts have been inside that 2-sided building have never been able to make it work. But once we found out that it was available, I even reached out to the owners because it was a 2-sided coffee drive-through. And I reached out to them around the same time we were opening up our drive-through and just said, hey, if you ever want to sell or get out, here's my phone number, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, we're not ready. And thanks, but no thanks.
Everything.
So then several years later, they reached out and said, yep, we're moving back home and we'd be ready. So we took our system, put it inside their building. So it's probably the least efficient of all of our buildings and concepts because we're having to use an existing model.
Oh, right.
We made it work. And now with the Brentwood Park there.
Yes. Well, that's a perfect location. So it's interesting. She just said, you go and I just mentioned, it's all about timing. So you go, you give your information in case you're ever interested, but how many people hang on to cards or hang on to information, right? That was so meant to be. If you're willing, it's all about timing. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll look at some comments. We've got about 54 of you on right now. Remember, we're on multiple platforms. So tell your family and friends if they're not on Facebook. It's the reason why we continue to add platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on X, Instagram, Rumble, and LinkedIn. Is there a platform you would like for us to be on that we're not on? Let us know. And we also have an audio podcast that we drop on Thursdays at 8 a.m. So we turn a lot of these shows into the audio podcast as well. All right, folks, if you got any questions, comments, we'll look at those. We've got so much more to tell you. Some of the hardest things that she's gone through in life. Again, how she continues to do the grind day in and day, have a beautiful, positive smile on her face, and be there and show up for the customers. Even when you have this and this happen in life, sometimes it's all about what you do personally. So we're going to talk about some of the hardest things that she's gone through in life to really push herself. All of that still coming up here on The Real Monica Adams Show.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
All right, all you coffee lovers, maybe I'm introducing you to a brand new place today. It's called Exit 11 Coffee. 8 locations. We'll talk about any future plans for expansion elsewhere, maybe one coming near you. If you've been, by the way, let me know what you've ordered and what maybe I should try. You also have food there?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up for you as well. All right, let's go to the comments. I always want to make sure that each and every one of you are always heard. We mentioned Ann earlier. Good morning, Monica, Angela, and everyone. Have a great day. Beckett and family have a safe, fun trip. Yes. Rose said, I love coffee. It comforts me. I'm sure you hear that a lot. You know, it's people think of comfort food, comfort drinks it's easier for me to think that that's what you do when it's colder out. So I think I guess that's why people do cold brew. Is my whole thing is when it's hot out that I don't think of hot drinks.
Right. So I think coffee in general I'm a hospitality lover. So here I am. I got into co-working. That's all hospitality. We have a little Airbnb. That's hospitality. Coffee's hospitality. It's what people are, the coffee, no matter if it's iced or hot, is a part of their day. And I think there just iced coffee wasn't a thing 10 years ago.
Right.
And now it is. And thank goodness, because then it introduces a lot more people who are like, I'm not into hot drinks.
Yeah.
Like I still have a hot latte 12 months out of the year. I'm not an iced coffee people. And then there's iced coffee people.
So it's just a habitual thing.
Yeah.
It's what you knew.
And it makes you feel good.
Again, but we're looking on the screen. Whether you want to drink it hot, you want to drink it cold, they've got everything for you. Kathy says red eye is coffee with espresso. Yes. I can't drink it black. I get acid reflux so bad I tried. Okay, that's interesting. Kathy, try an Americano. That's awesome. Putting coffee cubes in your cold brewed. Rose, she's right, Monica. Good coffee is everything. I buy whole bean organic Honduras, but I love it all. I want to try her coffee. Well, you got to go to one of her locations. Again, Exit 11 Coffee, 8 different locations. Kathy says less acidity is what you need in your coffee, or should I say, with less acidity. Okay, yes, exactly. So if someone has that going on, then you just got to try things just a little bit a different way. So let's go back. So what you are able to do in life a lot of times is who you surround yourself with. So let's talk about your family. You've got 4 kids.
Yes.
And their ages?
I now have 3 in their 30s, which is like hard for me to.
You don't look like you have an ability to have 3 in your 30s.
So my third just turned 30 and my youngest is 27.
Okay. And then you have 4 grandkids.
4 grandbabies, yeah.
And of those in their 30s, one is married.
The youngest is married, and then the 3 older, 2 are engaged. Yep.
One kid not married but has 2 kids.
Yes.
All right. So then the other thing is in life when you get knocked down, and that's what I want to talk about. So from a personal side, you were married for what, 20 years? And then got divorced.
Yep.
And then remarried. Your second husband, you've been 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
Congrats. My 10th anniversary is coming up as well. And so he's the one that's the mad scientist?
He's the mad scientist. So he's behind. We think about a visionary and an integrator. We both have both of those qualities, but I'm more the visionary. He's more of the integrator. So he's taking care of the day-to-day, everything from training to fixing equipment to making sure we have the best coffee roast to coming up with new recipes. So like our breakfast burrito, when he wanted to do a breakfast burrito, I'm like, can't we just go to Sam's and buy some burritos?
No.
And throw in the oven? He's like, no, it has to be really special. And it took him a whole year. I'm like, could you come on already? Because I want to sell it. You know? Anyway, and I'm glad we did because we sell thousands of them a month and we get our meat it's nitrate free and we get it from a local butcher and we get our eggs that are local. So it's not like going to Taco Bell and getting, and actually my attorney was getting his from Taco Bell. He'd get a breakfast burrito because it's like $1. I'm like, okay, come on. And I bet you have gas, right? So how about you eat something real? You know? And so he's eating something real now. And it's like, oh, and yes, it's more expensive, but it's like, it's filling and it's good stuff and you feel better.
So, and that's the other thing about local businesses is how much you all support each other and source from another local business, from different farms, things like that. So when you first opened your first location in Washington, did you have food back then or was it strictly coffee?
It was just coffee, but we immediately knew, I mean, you know, coffee, you're selling pencils. It's like $5. So it's like, okay, how do you increase the ticket amount? And we've tried everything from, I mean, my husband wanted to do soup. I'm like, okay, whatever. We can't do soup, biscuits and gravy. I mean, we've, you know, a biscuit brisket, and we've had quiche, and we did have quiche for many, many years. We finally stopped selling it just because as we grow, it's harder to make sure that they get the freshest and that we're not pitching things or we don't have enough, you know, all of that. So we evolve with each, but every year and as we grow, but that's what it's about. You have to adapt if you want to keep growing. So
Absolutely. And so it is, a lot of times it is, I'm going to throw something at the wall. Does it stick? Nope. Do the customers want this? Nope. Is there anything that they have been saying, hey, okay, now that you are continuing to grow and you got other locations hopefully to come, can you maybe think about doing this? Do you listen to your customers a lot?
Well, that's why we just came up with the 11 wonders, because people want different, although we can make anything for them, a lot of folks, even like with a house, unless they don't have the imagination to see what's possible. So they'll say, oh, can you make me what that shop has? Or can you put some caramel in it and vanilla? So because there's so much competition now, we have stalked the competition. What are they doing? What are they doing well? What can we learn from them? And what the bigger chains do really well is always introducing a new drink. People want something new. People that are coffee lovers, I have to have it every day. What else you got? What else? I drink the same thing every single day, all the time, since the beginning of time, because I don't want to have to think about it, because I'm too impatient. Like, just give me that. That's what I need. I don't want to think. So, but a lot of people do want variety. So we do, and they will say, how about this? And did you try that? And we will listen. And that we reply to every single request or feedback, a complaint. And so I'm actually kind of amazed. Sometimes, like, we're spending, a lot of money on espresso machines and grinders and things like that. Yeah. And I feel like we treat our customers better for a $6 latte. Like, if they say, I just wasn't happy or it wasn't what I expected, I'm like, no worries. There's a gift card waiting for you at your location, or we refund it, or
that's great.
Thanks for letting us know. And we just do that over and over. And so with no questions, whereas some of our vendors, I'm like, hello.
Yeah,
how about you come and talk to me?
But that's huge. And you think about it, there are so many times in life that people, they'll put a review out on Google, or they'll, hopefully you always hope it's a good one. And then there's the bad one. But I'm always impressed when the owner of the business replies and says, look, I want you to come back in. This is on me. I don't want you to have that experience. And then all of a sudden they soften and go, all right, well, I really appreciate that, because they feel like, oh, whatever, they're not going to care about me. I'm just lost in all their customers. So it sounds like they all matter to you.
And what I would love to tell people that leave Google reviews for small businesses, pick up the phone and just call and say, hey, this was not good. And then we will fix it. But unfortunately, they don't. Maybe they're used to dealing with bigger entities that they don't think they have a voice, so they go out online and blast it. It's like, if you would just called me, I would have said, we're going to fix it. So
I went into the break talking about how, you overcome. So from a personal standpoint, yes, she went through a divorce. And so you think about a hit, right? And then it is, okay, are we going to thrive? You opened up a location literally a day before the world shut down. How hard was that?
Well, all of our employees said, I got to go home. Mom wants me to not be working. We said, you got to do what you got to do. And so my husband and I we had 2 locations at that time. So we were just, every morning we were at one location, and from 5:30 until 5:30, and we were closing early at that time, so at like 2:00 at one location, 4:00 at the other one. So then we do all the office stuff and the business stuff in the evening. But it was remarkable, and how we became people's touch point and like the happy place. And I would say, like, where are you going today? They're like, this is it. Like, we just left the house. This is our field trip. We got to get something tasty. And we could visit with them and talk with them. And it was that human interaction. And I kept looking at the CDC. I'm like, are we really an essential business? Well, apparently coffee and drive-through is an essential business. So we again adapted. It's like, okay, I need touchless. How do I do that? How do I make sure that my team feels safe? And so it was a lot to navigate. And luckily we were in Franklin County, and so that was it was less strict than in some other areas, and we're 6 feet away. It was like all these things to think about then.
Right. So again, well, you all remember, right? Yeah. It's a time we want to forget, but what did we learn from it? The strength within. So that's kind of where I wanted to go. So when you are doing the grind, okay, again, not playing on it all, but doing the grind day in and day out, and you just need a release. Everyone in life, when they get so stressed, you're wanting to turn to a healthy release. So for you, what is that? And we're going to talk about some of the hardest things that she's put herself through. Have you always been an active person?
Always been an active person. I don't work out as often as I do, although I know I'm strong. And so I fill that with, and because I'm probably ADD. Anyway, I belong to like 9 rounds and the Y, and I go to my girlfriend's dance class. It's like, okay, today I feel like punching a bag. Tomorrow I'm going to do a class, and then I feel like dancing the other day. So you
need to go to Crunch now, by the way. Yes,
All
I'm
right.
serious. Crunch Fitness just opened and they have in fact, they have a class called So You Think You Can't Dance, which I
Yeah.
love, but they've
Oh,
got hot yoga, they have hot Pilates, they have hot HIIT, they have 45,000 square feet of,
wow.
yes, it's amazing. I mean, I had never heard of them, but yeah, we've been talking a lot about Crunch. So you want to box, you want to dance, you want to do all that. Fortunately, it's all in one place now.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
People can get rid of all their other memberships
Membership.
because they want to do all that. But so you keep yourself active, but then you decide to put yourself through some of the most difficult things. We're going to look at some of the pictures of these. What would you say is the hardest physical thing you've put yourself through?
It was, we, as a team, we went through the Tough Mudder, which was back in 2022. And I'm thinking, how hard can this be? It's 5K, come on. And I mean, you get electrocuted and you have to climb walls, and people are trying to heave me over walls, which is, it was somewhat humbling, but also it's like everyone there, we're all going to finish together. It doesn't care if I know
Yes.
you or not. I'm going to help heave you over that. But probably the most difficult was the summit of Ixta and Orizaba, which are the third and seventh highest mountains in North America, in 2012. And I did that through Century 21. And the president of Century 21 had always done the climb for kids every year. And I just, at a dinner, asked the wrong question and said, "Oh, do any women ever go on these?" And he's like, "Well, actually, we had a female climber last year when we went to Alaska, but we don't have one this time. Why? Would you like to join us?" I'm like, hold on 1 minute. But I had to, at that time, I still had I was single mom and I still had two
Oh, I was
teenagers
going to
at
say,
home.
because earlier
Yeah.
she mentioned that she didn't say anything to her husband, and her
Yeah.
husband's like, "Hey, we now. You got to talk to me." I was going to say, were you making decisions on your own?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but that decision was I had gotten a bonus, and it was like I either use the bonus to pay off my car, which would probably be a reasonable thing to do, or use it to go to Mexico and Summit Mountains. And but I mean, I had no money, and so I am borrowing and stealing from everyone to get the parts and the pieces that you need, from the coats and the gloves and the boots. And I mean, I was clueless. I had no idea. So sometimes you just go into things like, I think I got this. I can make it happen. I'll train. They sent me the training schedule, sent a list of stuff. And I'm like, what's a crampon? It's like, Google, what's a crampon? I'm like, so I'm going to be on glaciers? What, like, I need a carabiner because I might fall off the mountain. I mean, but it's too late now because now I'm committed.
I'm all in, right?
And so
what did it teach you?
Well, number one, teamwork, because I am not the biggest team player. I'm like, I just go, let's go, and hope everyone follows. So it really taught me that I would not have done that without a team. It taught me that I can lead. So they put me in the front, that sometimes the least experienced can lead. And they put me in front because they knew that I wasn't going to give up, because if you got people following you, you're like, oh, I can't quit. And it inspired them because it was all men. And they're like, okay, if she keeps going, and these guys are, mountaineer people, and it's like they do this all the time. And it was tough terrain. So they're motivated, like, well, I can't give up because she's in front of me. And so it was this, that was probably the biggest lesson, is the team. Because if I had gone by myself, or just was casual, I've been like, okay, this is too hard. I'm going back. I need a glass of wine. Let's get over this. Because this is like at 1 o'clock in the morning with your headlight on your head. I'm like, this is so hard. I don't want to do it.
What did it, as far as transferring from what you learn of your strength within, how do you take that and transfer it? Once you came back, you learned that you were a better leader. You learned that you could do teamwork. How did you transfer that into your professional side?
Well, it immediately, I was working for corporate America, which, by the way, anything that I have ever judged in life, God has given me the opportunity to experience. So I used to judge corporate America. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the grind. It's the golden ticket, blah, 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 instead of being entrepreneurial and do your own thing. Well, I was with them for 8 years, and I understood why, when it's a good thing. I mean, it's a risk either way, but anyway, so being on that trip helped me realize that I really did want to go back and take that business off the shelf, because I had put it on the shelf for a long time. And Mark Victor Hansen, he has an audio book called Dreams Don't Have Deadlines. And so that stuck in there. And so I talked to the CEO of the company who I had just done the climb with. And I said, I want to do this. He's like, well, just disclose it to HR and start working on it, build it, and then leave. And so he gave me, it was like permission. Because I think a lot of times when you're working for corporate America, you're like, well, I can't do that too. Well, you never know. Just talk to the people, say, if I disclose this, I'm just going to do 10 hours a week, work on it on the side. Anyway, so that was 2013. And then, of course, Washington Why Washington? Because there was a friend, an old friend from past life, was managing a building there. And she's like, I told the guy about your concept and he's interested. He's got all this vacant space. Come and check it out. I was like, all right, fine. I'll go to Washington.
But it's a good thing you did, because now you're already there, you're established, and what's happening to Washington, Missouri now is remarkable. Like I said, we were just there for a show at Hoffman Hillerman Nursery just a handful of weeks ago, but there's a woman that's really trying to do a ton of stuff down by the river that I love, and it's just growing, growing, growing. So here she was already there. So again, it's the idea of leaping. And I want you to think about this for a second. For the people who are watching that are doing the grind, that are not happy, that are working for corporate America, literally hate their job, but they have this passion inside of them. They've got ideas inside of them. How do you ever get them to jump? How do you get them to leap, to really to take that step? Okay, I'm going to have you think about that.
Right.
Again, Exit 11 Coffee, 8 locations. Are there more to come? We'll find about all of that. Don't go anywhere. We'll look at your comments, any questions you have as well. Exit 11 Coffee is what we're talking about. Follow them on social media at Exit 11 Coffee. Go to their website, exit11coffee.com. More importantly, support them when it's time for you to grab your cup of coffee for the morning. Find one of their locations if you can. And then let us know, by the way, once you've had it, was it the best coffee you've ever had? Did the team make you feel incredible? All those wonderful things. Again, more with Angela Garland when we return.
My house is so outdated and old. Can you help?
Let's take down this wall and add a support beam there.
Or just replace the furniture.
I love it.
New sofa, chaise lounge, and tables from Carroll House.
What about this bedroom?
Let's tear down this wall.
Or a new bed, dresser, and accessories.
It's like a whole new room.
Get free in-home design, fast free delivery, and free financing too. Skip the remodel. Add new furnishings from Carroll House for your new perfect room, because you like nice things.
Well, good morning. It is Monday, October 23rd, and it's a crisp, wonderful morning. And guess what? We are open. So last time you guys were here, it's been about 2 weeks. This place was not anywhere close to being ready. And so up until literally this morning at 6 a.m., we have been prepping the place to get it open for all of our customers that have been sitting here for 3 months wondering when the heck we're going to open. So here's some things that we did in the last 24 hours. Last night, we were even painting the arrows and the stripes that you see coming so that people know how to get in and out. Like this morning I was running and trying to find pumps for the syrups, and I forgot the almond milk, and we don't have any cold brew process because it's our first day. And so I went by D1 to see if they've got cold cubes, but they don't have cold cubes because everybody likes our cold brew. Just realized that, oh yeah, we need to order now open signs. We are working on the technology part, which tends to be one of the biggest frustrations when we open up a new location, because every time, it does not matter. Even though we are using the same point of sale, we always forget, there's that one setting. Scott and I always work, husband and wife, when we open up a new location, and usually here for the first week or so, at least every other day or something, so that we can work out the kinks, because there are kinks, and that's okay. We have 2 great baristas dedicated to this location. So Patty, who's a new employee with us, and then Des, who's been with us about 1.5 years. And we are still looking for some baristas for this location because we are going to be open until 6. So Des cannot work 5:30 in the morning.
Welcome back. Angela Garland again with Exit 11 Coffee. I was just going to ask you if you were hiring. I mean, again, you're such great growth, and we are going to say that there are more to come. So you are hiring for baristas?
Always hiring for baristas, yep.
There you go. If it's something that you want to, Zach Kimball, actually, who directs our show, used to be a barista.
Oh,
so
great.
there's such an art to all of that. If you are just tuning in, be sure to go back and share this, by the way, with your family and friends. Let them know about a new place to go and get their coffee, or if it's a place you've gone to in the past, you forgot about them, now it's to bring you back. So before we get into what makes you different from others that are out there, right? I talked about this going into the break. For those who have the passion burning inside them to do what you and I have both done, to step away from the norm, which again, years ago was all about, yep, you go to school, you get a job, you had an MBA, right? It's all right, we're going to go into business and I'm going to go for corporate America. And you did. But when do you make that shift to say, I know what to do here. I'm going to do it on my own. And yes, it's scary, but how do you break the fear for people that are watching right now to go ahead and follow their own passion?
I think you just do something, a little bit of something every single day. So even if, and that's what's the now that we have the internet, people, there's a lot that you can do. And now we have AI. I mean, there's all these things that we can do. You've got to use your weekends and at night. So if you're not willing to do that, then you really don't want what you want bad enough.
Right.
So it's like, yep, I got to go to the grind, and I've got kids. I got to put them to bed. I would get my kids like to bed by 7:30 or 8, so that I had from 8 till midnight to either work on the business or back then work on my MBA. So I did that while I was parenting. And what's funny is I was going back for the MBA because just in case I needed to get a corporate job, it's like the silliest thing, because I was already doing entrepreneurial things, but to me, corporate meant security, 401k, insurance, all that jazz. So just doing something every day and start talking to people and use LinkedIn. I was an early adopter to LinkedIn, and it's scheduling meetings and calls and coffee dates and whatever, so that you can, because it's all about people. The connections that I've made are the reason why I have the business.
Right.
Period. I mean, if I didn't talk to people.
Find your voice, people. Again, you wonder why people are successful. It's because they put themselves out there, and you absolutely have to do that. It's important. So what do you feel is different for what you offer as opposed to someone? And again, the big box are out there. I love all about supporting small business. First and foremost, your small business, husband, wife team, families involved, right? You've got this adorable video that I was watching of was it your son that was in a cutout box serving?
No, it's actually one of our customers. They were playing Exit 11. And so she came through. She was this is what happens. A lot of moms, I come through all the time. And so kids will see the orange trailer, their flags, and they're like, don't you do Exit 11, mommy? And so he was playing Exit 11. So she took a cardboard box and cut it out and put Exit 11 on the top.
There it is, by the way. Okay, that's
so
hilarious.
And that's
I thought maybe that was
ago.
one of your kids or grandkids.
Yeah, no.
How funny. Okay, so you've made an impact right there. That's a future coffee drinker. They like the iced ones. Yeah. So we mentioned earlier about you being known for the cold brews. And again, the levels of what you go through, and that's why people want to come back. What else do you think makes you stand out, that people, again, in the years that you've been open, say, well, this is why I support Exit 11?
We're fast. We get you in and out. Because we're two-sided, it's, when you drive through in a big box, you say, oh my gosh, all those cars lined up.
Yeah.
Well, if there's cars lined up, pay attention to whether or not they're moving, because just because they have cars lined up doesn't mean that they're moving cars. And so I think, so with us, we can see up to 90 cars an hour because we're serving both sides, and we can do that. And we're not ordering at a speaker box. We're ordering eyeball to eyeball. Yes. And so our error rate is that much lower, because I'm confirming with you. I'm handing back your drink, and I'm saying almond, extra shot, vanilla. And you're like, oh, no, I wanted coconut milk. You're like, oh, okay, let me try that again. Instead of you driving off and you're halfway down the highway and you have the wrong drink. So using local ingredients. We have a gluten-free, dairy-free options, which is another female entrepreneur out of Colorado that I met at a coffee expo. We're going to coffee expos and coffee fests so that we're always learning.
Sure.
We roast our own. We make our own syrups.
Yes.
So our bourbon vanilla syrup is actually, where there's 2 steps to it. We make our own extract. So we actually get the vanilla beans, slice them, put them in a bottle of rum, let it sit on the shelf for 2 months that it can become the extract that we need to actually make our syrup. And then we use just filtered water, organic sugar, and extract. So that's the one we actually make from start to finish. And then the rest, we make our own hazelnut, coconut, cinnamon dolce. We have a great video of the cinnamon cooking over the stove. We have a full-time cook and prep kitchen that does all of our burritos and cinnamon rolls and cake pops. So we are...
Are you all hungry and thirsty?
We're not like buying what I wanted to do, because I wanted to be efficient and go buy a bunch of prepackaged stuff, unwrap it, and throw it in a microwave. No,
you wouldn't have been successful if that was... No, because that's the easy way out. And I think that's the greatest message you can probably get from today is, are you willing to do the grind, right? Mm-hmm. Are you willing to put in the hard work? Are you willing to think out of the box? Are you willing to educate to the nth degree? Are you willing to travel and be able to say, what are people doing in other countries and other areas? What can we bring back? What makes the most sense for our business? And that's exactly what you are doing. Can people buy your roast?
Yes. So we are not like, what do I say? Like the micro roasters who are testing different beans all the time from other countries and can come up with 14 different blends, because that's what they do. We have 4 countries that we buy from. So Colombia, Costa Rica, Peru, and what's the other one? Costa Rica, Colombia, Peruvian, and Ethiopian.
Ethiopian,
So
okay.
we source those beans, get the green beans delivered in 150-pound bags. In fact, we have a reel showing today about all of our baristas and the heavy, who needs to work out when you work at Exit 11, because they're like picking up 150-pound bags and stuff. Anyway, and so then, yeah, we can get them online on our website. And then we actually do have one blend that is called the Washmo blend, since that's where we were founded. And my parents had owned businesses or worked in businesses in Washington in the 90s. So my dad was an artist, although he didn't really think he was. And he took a photograph from the top of the roof of one of the buildings in downtown Washington, had the whole landscape with the river and the bridge and the churches and all of that, and did a big, huge oil painting, which hangs in our corporate headquarters, a co-working space. And so we put that on the bag, and then the story of my dad, who passed away in 2010. And so it was a tribute to him, but also a local artist. And that's probably our most popular blend. And I would love to keep doing things like that. That's my entrepreneurial brain. But I'm like, focus, you're opening another drive-thru. Focus!
Well, and we just had that going into the break. So the question would be, are there other locations coming?
Yeah, so now we're being courted, which is kind of fun, but of course they want us to spend lots of money developing locations, but that's okay. And we are expanding, we're getting, now that we're in St. Peter's, we're looking at a second location in St. Peter's because it makes sense because we can hire a manager to do both. We're doing a lot up the 44 corridor, so Valley Park we're looking at. We would love to be in Wentzville. It's harder to find a place in Wentzville because every city and county has all the different rules about where you can be, if you can be on a parking lot. Because we've had, in Washington, we're on a parking lot. We're in the middle of a movie theater parking lot. Yeah. And in Union, we were on the parking lot of where a Mexican restaurant is. And so now we're having to build a brick and mortar for that location.
Oh, okay.
Whereas, Washington thinks of our little trailers as permanent because we are tied into the city water and power. It's not like we're filling a tank with water. Whereas other cities don't think of it as a permanent structure. So we have to build a building. But that's okay.
And so the buildings themselves, if you have not driven by one, they are how much square foot? 200?
They're not like 280.
280?
So they're not a walk-in. You cannot come in and sit down.
Yes.
It's just there's 2 to 4 people that work in there at all times.
Which is what brought us to this, right? So Angela and I talked on the phone and I was like, look, we should do a mobile Monica. I should serve the coffee to people. Guess what? We are going to do that. But I was like, okay, do we come inside? She's like, I don't know where you'd fit. So God, work with us on this. Yes. We are looking for hopefully a very beautiful day because what I want to do is sit outside and then have Exit 11 coffee behind us. We're going to go to the Eureka location. Mm-hmm. That's been open how long now?
Just since mid-December.
Okay, so that's the fairly new one and more to come. Again, the 8th location was December of 2024. And then you had a ribbon cutting for your 8th location with the new sign and extended hours. That just happened, what, 7 days ago?
Yeah.
So congratulations to that. Again, currently building the brick and mortar in Union to replace the trailer. Again, since Union considers that trailer temporary, and it's been temporary for 5 years. That new building, by the way, opening in June?
Yes.
All right, congrats to that. So Valley Park, St. Peter's, Wentzville, build corporate headquarters also.
Oh my God. So that's like the overwhelming beast because right now we have our office space, in the original co-working center.
Right.
We're still using an old kitchen for our commissary. And then across the street is our drive-through and roastery. And then we have a warehouse, we have a need for more warehouse space because we're having pallets of oat milk delivered to one location, pallets of cups delivered to another location. So we just need one place to consolidate, have us all be there. So we just purchased the property where our original drive-through is, but I'm still not sure I can build on it. So this is a whole outside my comfort zone.
Well, but you know what? You don't know this about me, but that is, and it's a great way for us to wrap up, actually. I say in life that the greatest rewards come from the most uncomfortable walk. That's literally the statement that I want to be known for. And it's very, very true. So just think about when you've gotten uncomfortable in life, what's happened for you.
Yeah, growth.
Yes, that's the thing. And then faith is a big part of, and again, we never push faith. I do wrap up with a devotional. I'll let Angela pick the one that she's feeling that we need freedom from today. But for those of you that maybe lost your way in faith, those of you that have never been faith-based, I don't know what you turn to, right? When times get tough, personal, professional. You've lost a house. You went through a divorce, as we mentioned, lost a house. It's scary. You open up your own business. You hope it does well. You hope the customers like you and that you're doing good things. But you don't just rest on your laurels and be like, I'm just going to sit here. I mean, you heard what she said. They're going all over the place. Her husband's the mad scientist. Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's not take the cookie cutter easy way out. Because if you had, I don't think you'd be sitting here saying that I've had 8 locations and more to come. Right. So it's all those things that hopefully you're learning from today. Again, if we missed a comment from you, we'll go back and look at that. And you can also do a little hashtag replay for us. Let us know any comments or questions. Babs said coffee. Yes, everybody wants their coffee. Kathy said awesome, your own syrups. Yes, as we said, she's thinking the extra level of that. Kathy also said small business is a must, and we need to support small business. That's the whole thing of small business, lifting up small business. And you mentioned earlier, Angela, the aspect of seeing what others are doing around you, not looking at competition as jealousy.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I think people need to learn. It's another big lesson of let them and then learn from them and let them learn from you, right? Because it really is ever evolving. Let's put this up on the screen. I want to congratulate you from some of the accolades that you've gotten. How proud of you are you, of this?
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, are you sure? Like that's what who dominated me? Probably my mother, but
oh, hey, moms are the best, are they not? When was this?
This was last year, so the March edition last year. So.
Congratulations. And what did that mean for you?
It just meant that, all of the decades of hard work. It's like, okay, so we don't take as owners and founders and visionaries, we don't pause to recognize and celebrate. And so it's exciting what other people do because it forces you to say, oh yeah, okay, I did that. Thank you.
Did that, right. Again, one of the top 100 women by SBM for 2024 on the cover of their paper. Also, as we get into you picking for me for our devotional of the day, you are part of the Rooted Sisters. And she actually told me about that. I've had a handful of friends that talk about that. Don't they have like a big Christian event coming up in the fall?
In October. So once a year they have a breakfast for professional Christian women, and it's growing so much they keep expanding. This year it's going to be at the Ritz. Last year they had 800 women.
That's what I heard.
So it's very exciting.
I heard that like a lot of the tickets, I think there's tables still available maybe for that.
Yes.
Okay, I need to get that. It's in October?
Yes.
Hopefully I'm in town. All right, so from a faith standpoint, we always wrap up the show with 100 Days to Freedom books. Okay, so 100 Days to Freedom from anger.
Okay.
100 Days to Freedom from overeating, from shame, depression, fear, and anxiety. Which one are you feeling?
Anger.
Okay, good. So here's the thing. A lot of times this one gets chosen. I don't know whether it's because it's the color purple or it's fear in life, anxiety, but I think they always end up leading into the other ones that we just mentioned. Yeah. Okay, so depression and shame and overeating and anger all comes from that. So today we're going to give you freedom from anger. That's Angela's choice, and we'll do that when we return.
I just want to say absolutely amazing time getting together with you and talking about how everybody can make a day just a little bit better than it was yesterday. You're doing tremendous things. I just love the spirit in which you want to help those around you and help your community. You've always been like that. What a great time. What a great show. I love our fellowship. I look forward to doing more with you in the future and checking out a few of these churches and seeing where our paths are going to cross and what kind of fun and entertainment and love we can bring to the table. I love this, and I think you're doing a killer job, so love you.
Welcome back, and thanks again for tuning in this morning to the Real Monica Adams Show. If you're just tuning in, you've missed a great show, so go back and watch it and then take that and share that with all of your followers. Also, listen for this on a future audio podcast, which drops 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursdays on all of the audio podcast platforms. Well, we end with devotionals for you, right? To bring it all home, wrap it up in a pretty bow. 100 Days to Freedom from Anger. And this one's called Step by Step. Rejoice in our confident hope. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. That's Romans 12, verse 12. We talked about patience with Angela. God has a calling for each of us, yet our journeys will not always be easy. There will be times when one extreme emotion or another will try to get us off our path. And that fury of frustration and blood-boiling rage may threaten to overwhelm and bring us down a road that is a dead end, spiritually as well as relational. What can we do when the strong pull of anger threatens to then redirect our steps? Take it one step at a time. By breaking things down, the all-encompassing turbulence of rage becomes a little bit more manageable. Concentrate solely on the step at hand, be mindful, and trust God to lead you forward. Now, these steps will give you a solid plan to turn to when emotions rise too high. Here's step 1. Rejoice in the confident hope of Christ. He has promised to never leave us or forsake us, to be our ever-present help in times of trouble. Focus on these positive truths, and they'll help you to push out the negativity of anger. That's 1. Step 2, be patient in trouble. And that might seem impossible against the fuel of anger, but remember to let the hope of Christ strengthen you. Through Jesus, your patience can grow and be used as an opposing force to the reactions of anger. And then step 3, keep on praying. We must never forget the power of prayer to help us deal with the challenges and the difficulties of our daily life. We can depend on God to direct our path. He's more powerful than any emotion we'll ever have. When things threaten our walk, we are able, with Almighty God, to stay the course step by step. Henrietta Mears said, a man who walks with God always gets to his destination. Dr. David Jeremiah says, there's nothing God doesn't know about your life. You may know the past and the present, but God also knows the future. Choose today to walk securely, not in what you know, but what you believe. And Erwin Lutzer said, God has a program of character development for each of us. He wants others to look at our lives and say, he walks with God, for he lives like Christ. And here's your prayer. Lord Jesus, thank you for your abiding love, endless hope, and graceful direction for my life. When the things of this world threaten my walk, I humbly ask you for your help as I walk in your ways, that I may live a worthy life of your calling. In your name, amen. That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes.
It seemed fitting with us, right? We talked about needing patience.
Yes.
So once again, if you have not been to Exit 11 Coffee, go to exit11coffee.com. Follow them on social media as well, at Exit 11 Coffee. And if you want to follow Angela herself, it's at Angela Garland 11. Again, 11s are everywhere in her life. And here is what I told you to stay tuned for. All right, I think I may get turned to like coffee from this woman. Let's see. We'll make it happen. So we're going to do a mobile Monica for you, and that is coming up in 2 weeks, June 10th at 12 o'clock. So we're going to be at the Eureka location, which again just opened up back in December. That's their newest location. What's the exact address on that one? Do you remember? Hey, let's put it up on
427 North Central.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. There are many locations. Yeah. You got 8 locations. So we're going to be at the Eureka location, and we want you to come by. I'd love to see you. So what is your favorite from a food standpoint on your menu? What's the favorite thing to try?
It's got to be the burrito, or the burrito bowl. So if you don't want all the carbs, you get the bowl.
Okay. So. Let's see. Lana, thank you for inviting me to be a part of your Morning with Monica. Well, Rose, thank you, by the way, that's the whole thing we always tell you to do, to tell others to watch the show. So come on out, make plans for your midday little pick-me-up. I'm going to be there. We'll be sitting down with Angela, and we'll talk more in depth. We'll see firsthand how they have their operation, how quickly they're able to go and do that double-sided aspect of, again, efficiency and putting a smile on your face. I absolutely love that. Angela, thank you for telling your story. And I'm excited to see your work in action.
And you're going to have a bourbon vanilla latte. Last thing I do.
All right. I'm going to try it.
Thank you.
Folks, tomorrow, no 7 a.m. show. So spread the word to everybody. Instead, we're going to start at 8 o'clock because it is one of the shows that you all love. We are going to be at the Vault. It's the big makeover show tomorrow. Our before and after models have been chosen. We've got 5 ladies. Thank you, by the way. We are super excited to feature them tomorrow. If you've never been to the Vault Luxury Resale, you are missing out. So we changed that. It was at 7 o'clock, so that has changed to 8 a.m., by the way. Luxury resale, and it is not at the luxury price, and that's what I absolutely love. So if you've never been, tomorrow we'll walk you through and we'll show you who they were when they walked in, and then 2 different outfits that the ladies at the vault thought might be their style. Again, we're going to do that big makeover show 8 a.m. tomorrow, so tune in for that. Thanks, folks, so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. And one of the greatest things that you can do in life is believe in yourself, as Angela did. I myself did as well. But the one big thing you can do that we always ask you to do is to be kind. God bless you all. Have a beautiful day.